Hey guys, Jen Banks with Banks Canine Solutions. I offer in-home dog training in Fitchburg, Massachusetts and surrounding areas. And today I want to do a quick Q&A with any sort of dog-related questions. Some of you guys did submit some questions, which I'm going to answer, so thanks for doing that. So let's get right into it. The first question was, how do you stop a dog from barking and whining when people come into the house? It sounds like it's not just visitors, but also when family members come into the house. So what do you do for that? And it also sounds like they've tried crating the dog and putting the dog out of sight. They've tried a few different things and they just can't get it to work. Something I would recommend is getting a bark collar. Bark collar is not going to stop the whining, but it will certainly stop the barking, which is a step in the right direction. I recommend the Sport Dog collar. If you want to email me, I can send you a link toward it, or I can even put the link in the comments of this video. With a bark collar, there are definitely some safety tips. You don't want to turn it on before you put it on because it is friction activated. So if it's turned on as you're fitting it to the dog and it goes off, you're awfully close to the dog's mouth and they could bite you. So I like to have it off, fit it to the dog, put them in the crate, and then turn it on. I'm not turning it on before that. So I would certainly try a bark collar. And again, it's not going to stop the whining, but it will stop the barking. The other thing you want to look at is, how do people overall interact with your dog? Your dog wouldn't be whining and barking if it wasn't working for them, right? So there's something that's happening that's encouraging that sort of behavior, even if it's just generally how the dog acts when you're paying attention to him. So if he's getting a lot of attention when he's in a really aroused state, like he's really excited. My parents have a dog who, when you're patting him, he whines quietly. And he does that because people keep patting him when he does that. So look at your overall interactions with the dog as well. When he finally does come out of the crate, you shouldn't be saying hi to him. You should be 100% ignoring him, correcting any sort of nonsense, like if he's jumping up on people or barking or whatnot. So you want to look at both pieces of that. You can also try other ways of correcting the whining in the crate. Like you can try a squirt bottle. Sometimes that works for some dogs. Other dogs laugh at it. They think it's not that bad. But that's certainly something those are the things I would start with. And definitely let me know how you progress on that. Thanks for submitting that question. The next question is, how do you stop a dog from stealing food? And I know who asked this question, and I guess I'm not surprised. So biggest thing to keep in mind is, if your dog has gotten away with it before, they're going to be much more persistent in the behavior. Moon Pie is trying to come under the table. I have my phone balancing on, and she's shaking everything. Hey, knock it off. Stop. So here's my squirt bottle. Knock it off. So stealing food, it really pays off, right? Once your dog has stolen a piece of food, they learn, oh, I should keep an eye on tables and counters and whatnot. So there are two things that you want to look at. You want to manage the situation so it hopefully doesn't happen again. And then separately, you want to train the situation so you can catch your dog doing it and correct it. And by manage, I mean, don't leave a plate of food down when you go into the other room real quick, because your dog has probably learned that they can quickly scoff the food up. So that means you could either call your dog into the other room with you and keep an eye on them, or pick the food up. So look for those situations where you're not really prepared to actually pay attention to your dog, and do something to prevent the behavior from happening. Maybe it's using the crate more, maybe it's using the leash more, whatever. And then aside from that, you want to set up training sessions where you're prepared to correct your dog. So maybe he's jumping on counters and stealing food when you're trying to prepare dinner. So what I would do is I would set it up where you're ready, and I would put food wherever it is that he normally steals it, and then act like you walk out of the room. And you want to spy on him from either around the corner, or you can set up a camera for this. You can do something like that. And you need to do something that he does not like when you see him jump up on the counter. Could be a squirt bottle. You can also check out, Gary Wilkes is big on using a bonker. He's got a few videos on that. So if you just type that into Google, you'll find Gary Wilkes bonker videos all over YouTube. You could also use, actually, he's remote collar trained. You can correct him high on the remote collar for that. I would set your remote to like 70 or 80 and get ready to correct him for that. So think about setting it up where he thinks you're not paying attention, but you really are. And what you're looking to get is he jumps up on the counter, and just as he makes that decision, hitting the button on your remote collar and correcting for that. So that was the second question. And then the very last question was, I think it was what kind of treats do I recommend? Yeah, someone had messaged me, what kind of treats do I recommend for dog training? And honestly, I really like to get a dog to work for their food, especially if you're feeding kibble. It's not that hard. In the house, my dogs are working for kibble. They are not getting anything special in my house, because if they can't work for kibble in my house, I'm doing something wrong. The way I see the house is like, it's a really easy environment for the dog to listen in. We have access to it all the time, so we're probably practicing in the house all the time. I'm not using great treats in the house, because what's going to happen when I go out into public and I need something maybe a little bit more valuable for my dog. And really, if I can get a dog to work for kibble everywhere, that's all I'm using. The only time I'll really bring better treats into play is if I'm doing some more like higher level obedience stuff, or if I'm dealing with like a really fearful, anxious dog and I'm trying to do some desensitization stuff. Sorry, I'm getting a text in here. So as much as possible, I like to build food drive on the dog's kibble. If and when I do use special treats, like for my dogs when I go to agility class or nose work or something like that, lately I'm using a lot of human food, believe it or not. It's cheaper and better for them, and they like it a lot more. So meat, like plain old some sort of meat, you could cook up chicken or beef or something like that. I use cheese every now and then. I don't use a ton of it though, because it's not great for the dogs. I've been using turkey hearts a lot. I've been baking turkey hearts and cutting those up really small. There are these like chicken sausages that I use sometimes as well. Big on using human food right now. As far as dog treats go, what I'm looking for in a dog treat is like a single ingredient meat treat. So I literally mean there's one ingredient. It's like lamb lung and it's dehydrated, or it's beef liver and it's dehydrated. So I really like the single ingredient meat treats. And every now and then I'll use like something crappy, like dog biscuits or something like that, just to throw it in there. But I really like, Stella and Chewy have some good treats that I like. They're like these little, it's a dehydrated raw food. I use that sometimes. I like the dehydrated lamb lung from Merrick. I use that every now and then. Man, I haven't bought treats in a while. So that's kind of what my criteria for treats is. It's fairly easy to handle. I don't want anything that's crumbling all over the place, and the less that's in it, the better for me. All right. Those are the 3 questions I have for this week. I am looking to do this every week, so I will be doing this again next week at, I think it's going to have to be at 12:30 next Thursday. So look for a post if you want to submit some questions for that. I'd be happy to answer all your dog training questions. Thanks to all who submitted questions, and thank you guys, the ones that are watching. Thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's like 50 degrees outside right now, so I need to end this and get my dogs outside so they can run around. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.